Okay, good evening, everybody. I have 6 p.m. or for those in love with the 24-hour clock, 1,800 hours. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors for Grayson County to order on 14 April. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda?
Start, maybe amend the agenda to minutes of March 10th and 29th to our next budget meeting.
Okay, got a motion to table the minutes from the March meeting and the budget workshop meeting in March until Tuesday. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, can we state the reason why we're not approving the minutes of the last two meetings?
There's some discussion we had at the last budget meeting that referenced minutes from the last Board of Supervisors meeting regarding funding for the Baywood project. And if we approve the minutes, then we accept that, and we just feel like we need to discuss it as a board at the budget meeting before we approve the minutes.
You good?
I concur.
Okay, all in favor?
Can we get a roll call vote, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Aye.
Aye. And I'm an aye. Okay, and it did get a little out of order, so we did that business. From now, we'll go to the invocations.
That's all right.
My fault. My fault.
Father, thank you for the day that's been given. Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for our board and all the work that they put into our county. That you be with them tonight as they do our business. And thank you for the citizens that have shown up and have an interest in our county. For all you do for us, we'll praise you. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. No public hearing scheduled, so we'll move right into the reports presentations. First, Tracy.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time. Mr. Shepley asked me if I would come before you and update you on just a couple of things that are going on in the tourism department. Came to my attention that possibly you had not seen our new website, our tourism website. So I'm gonna take just a brief minute and go through that. David's gonna get that up for me and just show you some of the things that, how it navigates and what it looks like. Okay. So he's going to the top. You can see our Grayson County video is always running in the background. You won't see that on a mobile device, only on a computer. And as you go through, go back up to the top, David, if you would please. Across here are the different buttons that you can navigate. See places to stay, places to eat, outdoor rec and events. We keep those updated to the best of our ability. Is always changing. Our businesses, vacation rentals change constantly, so we're doing that. This button, Ag Fair, is we decided the Ag Fair at one point did have its own separate website. It was more cost efficient to just add a page to our website so that people can go in and see everything that's happening there. David, if you want to click on that Ag Fair button so they can see what it looks like. Right here.
This one?
Over to the right, it says Ag Fair. One more. Yeah, there. Okay, so places for vendors to register, for sponsorships, and if you scroll on down, you can see there's going to be places that our rules are going to be on there and things of that nature. You'll see this picture again here in just a few minutes. People can register online this year. That's something new that we have not done in the past. We hope that people will take advantage of that and that might speed up the registration process. So another thing that Mr. Shepley really liked and wanted me to show you, I put a copy of the visitor guide. We do have a new visitor guide. David, if you'll go back to the home page, We also have that on here digitally. So it's the very same thing that you have, but it's kind of neat. You might have to scroll to the top and click home, because I don't see your back arrow.
I think he's having to work off your screen, not his.
Yes, sir.
That's the challenge.
Where do you wanna go,
To the
Jason?
left, home,
Back home.
up on the green bar at the top. And all the way to the left, home. There you go.
Where you getting it?
He's doing that a little bit blind. I apologize. Okay, there you go. So, back up to the top. On the second, I think it's the second one. I'm gonna have to get under here, guys. I can't see it. Visitor guide. Do you see that, David? It's hard to see.
Yep.
One more over. It says visitor guide. There you go, right there. There you go. So you can click these arrows, and David, if you could click it just a couple of times, you'll see that you can
Okay.
open the visitor guide. There's an arrow, keep coming to your right. A little more, you're almost there, a little more. Down, there you go, there we go. We'll get there. So it's pretty cool.
That's what you need, bitch.
So you can just click all the way through it and see it that way too, and there's a place on there that you can order it from us and we'll mail you one. So I was very pleased with our visitor guide, and I was also very pleased with our website. Kate Irwin did that, contracted to do that for us. She won the RFP to be able to do it, and I thought she just did an excellent job. Okay, and then the other thing that I wanted to update you on, David, if you could get me the PowerPoint, is our Ag and Art Adventure. While David's getting that up, I'll share just a little bit about that with you. This year, the Ag and Art Adventure is grant funded by the Virginia Tourism Corporation. They gave us $10,000 to start an Ag and Art tour. We had 2 grant partners. One was Matthews Living History Farm. The other was the Twin County Arts Council. This $10,000 will pay for website development, and there will be a page added to that website about the Ag and Art Adventure. Video for each artist and farmer, photography for each artist and farmer, then some advertising, radio, public radio, as well as WBRF, newspaper advertising, social media advertising, banners and signage, wrap cards with a map of the tour. So that $10,000 will be spent on those type of things. Right now, we have 4 areas that we're kind of considering areas or communities that we have artists and farms: Baywood, Independence, Elk Creek, and Western Grayson County. At this point, we have 18 artists and 6 farms on the tour. Okay, so David, if you want to start a slideshow, I'm going to just very briefly take you through and show you who our artists are and what farms are on the tour.
Let me get back there. Is this right? Tracy, give me a minute and I can redo this.
I sympathize, David. So as we go through this presentation, I'm just going to show you who each artist is, show you a picture of their work, because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and just a little bit about where they are. Each artist is a Grayson County artist. Each farmer is a Grayson County farmer. And so we have a tour schedule that will be September 10th of this fall. We're hoping, as time goes on, to be able to expand that to more than one event, to either do 2 days or maybe even a spring and a fall tour. There we go. So David, you can go ahead and take me to the next one. All right, so this is our first community. People will start in Baywood, and those are the three stops there. Baywood is a farming community. Matthews Living History Farm, VG Berry Farm, and Crest Haven Dairy. And we did invite people to sign up to be on this. So we put ads in the newspaper. We had press release there and social media, so that we did encourage people to apply, and there were deadlines. And these are the people that applied, and then it was juried. And I'm pleased to say everybody was accepted. We had some really good things to show. All right, David, you can go ahead. All right, so we're going to begin at Stories of the Stitch, which is, go ahead to the next one. I wish I had a clicker and I could do it myself. Matthews Living History Farm, and those are our partners. Every year they have a really cool event called Stories of the Stitch, and it's beautiful. You go there and they have quilts all on clotheslines all over that farm, and people are there really tell stories of their quilts. They have other vendors, music and things of that nature going on in that area. Music. So that's where our tour will begin. And then we're going to progress toward independence from there. So David, next one is VG Berry Farm, Larry and Sandy Grabman. Here's a picture of what they do. Go ahead. And they're in Baywood as well. And our tour is not during berry picking season, but they do tea out of their leaves. And so one of the neat things at their farm, you can go and tour it, and you can buy this tea from them. All right, David, go ahead. Crest Haven Dairy Farms is owned by the Dickinson family, also in Baywood. Go ahead. And this is a new Virginia Century Farm. We have 2 Century Farms on our tour. They're already doing a little bit of agritourism. They're taking homeschool groups and children, things like that. And one of the biggest things that people want to see when they go to Crest Haven is their calf housing. So kids especially enjoy going and seeing those calves. All right, and the next area, you'll come from there to Independence, and we have those 4 stops here in the Independence area. This is our biggest area for artists. We have a lot of artists in the county who do not have studios, but they're going to show at the 1908. First one is Jeff Goodson. You can see pictures of his work. Quite a craftsman. Go ahead. And you can see that he will be demonstrating. I think that's something pretty cool. He'll bring some of his equipment to the 1908. So he's from Elk Creek, but he's going to demonstrate how he does some of that wood turning. One thing I hope you'll notice as I go through these artists, there's in the farmers as well, there's lots of different types of art to be seen. Leslie Wright, there's some of her art. Go ahead. Hers is outdoor art. She'll be showing at the 1908 as well. She's from right here in Independence. Go ahead. Andrea Rutherford. I think the big draw with Andrea is the pet portraits. People are going to like that. And she also does wood burning. She's from Galax, but the Fairview area of Galax. John and Susan Alexander. The neat thing about their art, it's made using 18th and 19th century skills. So they do those Appalachian toys and the brooms. And that's very different. Everything's different. Go ahead. Laura Bryant, she's kind of famous for her quilt work. She donates quilts and wall hangings to the 1908 courthouse, and those are sold, and they're in large demand. Okay, go ahead. Laura Dunleavy. Hers is she's going to be set up at the 1908, but the neat thing about Laura's is that she's going to have an interactive art experience. She wants the people on the tour to participate. So something will be going on there that's participatory. That's a word to get out. I love this. Look at what this lady does. These are rocks. Louise Rasco, she gets rocks, and makes something like that. I see a rock, she sees art. And she is from White Top, but she has chosen to come to the 1908 and set up. Okay? All of those stones are local as well. I think that's interesting. Kit Marshall, here's some jewelry. Go ahead. And so she also uses a lot of natural materials from nature here in our area. She also does some other small furniture and things of that nature. Kathy Mendez is somewhat of a famous artist for this area. She's a painter, and she will also be set up at Home Feathers across the street with Kit Marshall. Patrick O'Neill, of course, is the jeweler. And we're hoping that he might get some commissions from this tour, that people might go in. And he has some pretty neat collections as well. Who can't love that face? New River Highland Cattle Farm, Andy and Lori have also already been dabbling in agritourism. They've already been conducting some tours, and you can go and brush one of those sweet faces. Brush one of those cows, take your photo with it. And they're already doing that. Okay. Next stop is up toward Elk Creek. You can see the places that folks can go there. Okay. Hannah Martin with Heart Moss Pottery. Very successful already with her pieces. Beppy Kafka lives in Elk Creek. Look at the shadows and the light in her work. Go ahead. She is a classically trained artist, and she's going to set up, if the station at Elk Creek is finished, she wants to set up there as well. Okay. Three Creeks Farm is out that area. There's some pictures of that farm. They'll conduct tours. One of the things that she does is several times a year, she holds an antique sale in that big red barn, and she's going to have a sale that day. So that might be somewhat of a draw for that area. The Summerfield Farm, Mr. Fant. Here's our sheep. First time you'll see sheep.
Just so we're clear though, there won't be any cow face brushing in my
Cow and calf, sheep and lamb. And I think the sheep will draw people. I hope it will. I knew Todd Price did signs. He's kind of famous around here for signs, but did you know he could paint like that? So at his place up there, Fine Art Gallery and Sign Works in Elk Creek. Okay. I encourage you, if you're able to participate in the tour on September 10th, if our local people would support our Western artists. We have a lot of tourists in Western Grayson County. 250,000 visit Creeper Trail, the Grayson Highlands State Park. But this is kind of out there for an art tour. Everybody's going to be coming to the 1908 and Independence, where things are located close together. And I encourage, if you can participate, if our local people can participate, to go out toward Western Grayson and show them our support as well. Okay? Rachel Wiz, she's on there two different ways. She has her farm that she's going to have tours, and also her art. She's a graphic designer. Told you to remember the one picture on the Ag Fair page. She won the Ag Fair logo contest last year. So that's where you've seen her work before. And here you'll see horses. She'll have apples. I don't know much about growing apples and whether they'll be ready to be picked by then or not, but that's there along with her art at Mount Wilson. Okay, Kyle Uditsky does a lot of that live edge furniture. It's very beautiful. He will be set up at the Grayson Highlands General Store. Those are the things he uses. Okay. Beth Richardson, I encourage you to go up there and check out her place. Look at these doors. Her husband is in on this with her, but I wasn't sure. His name's John, but he has a different last name than her. And I don't know how to pronounce it, so I knew I couldn't spell it. So I just put Bev down. But Bev's father was Olaf Richardson, who owned the Creeper Trail campground. For many years, it was vacant. Bev and her husband John have gone in and redone that, and it is stunning. It is quite beautiful. She does art with flowers. He does more of the live edge furniture, and by then she hopes to have a pizzeria up, so another place to eat in White Top, and be able to sell pizza there. They'll be doing demonstrations as well. Okay. That's it. Any questions? Had I known that we had that many, at first, Mr. Belton, I really did not, I was beginning to wonder if anybody was going to sign up. Last minute, started pouring in. When I told them it was just one day, they started signing up. When they thought they had to commit to 2, they weren't so sure about it. So, yeah, but it would be hard to get to all of those in one day. So hopefully in another year, we can expand. Good question. Any others?
Yeah, as far as the website, is that not accessible on the mobile device?
It is. The thing that is not accessible on a mobile device is the video at the very top of the page. When you're on a PC, and you have to go to home to find it, the video is always running in the background. That could not be done on a mobile device. So on a mobile device, you're only gonna see, and it's gonna start to run in just a minute, but you'll only see that shot on a mobile device. But on a PC, you'll see it just like you're seeing it.
That, it looks really good. You need to work on that. Also, you mentioned $10,000. I caught the tail end of that.
That was a grant that we were funded to start the Ag and Art Adventure through the Virginia Tourism Corporation.
And that helps you with the website.
No, the website was actually paid for a grant back in, what was it, 2021. And a BTC grant paid for that as well.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions?
Awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. Thank you.
Just closing comment, unless you got something to do, but just thanks for your leadership on this. You know, several years ago, I think a group of artists tried to start a trail and they really struggled trying to organize it. But I think, and granted, I'm part of this, but I think combining the arts with the ag piece will give people a variety. So if, you know, they're tired of looking at cows, they can go, you know, enjoy some pottery or something or whatever. So I think there's the variety, I think, is what's going to make it really attractive for folks that want to do a little bit of both. So
Yeah.
thanks for pulling it together.
Yeah, we thought that
Yeah.
pulling in a few farms would add another dimension.
Yeah.
And I do have a committee that works
Yeah.
with me on
Well
that.
done. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
Yeah.
You all should know what a great resource that Tracy is, and she has just taken on this tourism mantle and really expanded it. I'm just super proud of her and all the work that she's doing, and we appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And while you're there, just a shout out for the Legends of Grayson work you did. I went to a lot of that, and that was just an absolutely top-notch event. So to you and Steve and Mark, that, you know, really launched it, that well done.
Thank you very much.
Forward. I think next year they're gonna do Wade Ward. That's another great legend for the county, so thank you. Okay, moving on. Commissioner Bolt, come on down.
Thanks, sir, and thanks for allowing me to be here tonight. I have a couple of reasons for being here, but I want to talk to you about our tax relief programs that we have in the county. Dave, I think I've got some slideshow here that will be easier to navigate than where'd Tracy go? But basically, we have two tax relief programs in the county. The first one is for disabled veterans, and this is a state mandated. If you remember, it started in 2011 by constitutional amendment to provide real estate tax relief for disabled veterans. And so it's been going on since then. To qualify, disabled veterans has to be a service-connected disability. They have to be classified as total and permanent, and they have to be evaluated at 100%, or be paid at 100% to qualify. So I have to see those three things. Service connected, 100% total and permanent. The veteran has to be their primary residence. And you get tax relief on their dwelling and up to 1 acre of land. Go back to the top, David, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's where we're at. You get tax relief on and scroll up just a tad, on their dwelling in 1 acre of land. There's no income limits. There's no net worth limits or anything like that. And as I said, this is by state code to do this. Now, if we go to the second page, David. In 2021, we had 52 disabled veterans that qualified in the county. That accounted for $28,958 in tax relief, which averaged out to be $557 per veteran. The trash fee was also removed, which was $11,016, and that part is strictly a county decision. So many years ago, when this came in, the Board of Supervisors thought that would be an added little benefit that was good. So you take the trash fee off as well. And you see the total benefit there was $39,974, which averages out to be $769 per day. And as I'm going along here, if there's any questions in time, please stop me. When I started saying I had a couple of reasons, one is educational with 2 new board members to give y'all a little update, maybe to remind the others in the past on what we're doing. Okay. The next tax relief program is for the elderly or disabled. And I'll put this on here. If you can answer yes to all these questions, you may qualify. And for elderly, you have to be 65 years, at least 65 years old. If it's disabled, it's going to be permanent and totally disabled with forms that can back that up. Your combined household income is less than $27,500, and that means everyone in the household. And basically, this program is set up for mainly the income from these folks that they draw Social Security. If it's a husband and wife, it's the total. If there's a relative living with them, we have to count that also, although we can't take out the first $2,500. Number 3, the net worth. The net worth has to be less than $90,000, but that does not count the dwelling and 1 acre up to 1 acre of land. So if you have a $100,000 house and 10 acres of land, would not have to count the value of the home, 100,000. We wouldn't have to count the 1 acre house site, but you would have to count the other 9 acres. It's not designed for people that have lots of land. If you have 50 acres, you're not going to qualify. If you've got a few acres, you have a shot, and most folks will just have a lot or 1 or 2 acres. Number 4, the deed of the property has to be in your name for folks, or they have to have a life estate. So for people, it's already deeded to the kids. If they kept a life estate, they just will qualify. It has to be their official residence and permanent home. In other words, they have to live there all the time. And your real estate taxes have to be paid up to date. The county's going to provide tax relief for someone that can't be in the hole to start with. Okay, that's the guidelines right now. The next page, and at the very top, the
Hey, Larry,
repeated.
so maybe on this issue, the 27.5, that amount, 27,500. A few years ago, we adjusted that, I think, right?
The last adjustment was 2019.
Okay.
That's when we went up to that.
When would we want to discuss another adjustment? Is that
Like
your-
about a minute or 2. I've got something on that.
Okay, got it, sorry.
Okay. No, that's good though. And I will say this, when we adjusted the last time, we studied the surrounding counties. I looked at the surrounding counties to see their guidelines, and we were a little low when we sort of brought it up to that surrounding county. The one thing that I did say from a while ago, because that was just questions to qualify, the maximum tax relief that you get is $250. And you also get the trash fee. If someone's taxes, obviously if it's more than $250, you just get the $250 off, and they still owe the rest. If the taxes aren't $250, then they just get whatever the tax amount is. In 2021, we had 347 households that qualified. A lot of these are single household, and I haven't counted this up, but the majority are one person, and all of them are females, because females outlive males. And smarter, harder workers, and all that kind of stuff. They outlive males, and there's a lot of just single widows in that. I thought one thing that was interesting is to break it down by districts of these 347, where the folks live. It's 22% in Elk Creek District, 32% Old Town, 25 in Providence, and 21 in Wilson. So it's, it's spread out. Total amount of tax relief for last year was $73,787, which averaged out to be $213 per household. The trash fee was removed, another $68,904. And the total benefit, $142,691, which averaged $411 per household. Just hold that, David. Hang on just a second. So that's what we've done. That was last year. It was $142,691 divided in relief to our seniors and disabled. Okay. Now, the top one. How will the new reassessment affect this program? And we know what happened to values. Okay, so I thought I was going to do a little study. So I took a sample of 20% of everybody last year. And it was a random sample with me actually going down through the list, counting every fifth one down. So I didn't cherry pick, is how it was. My criteria for my sample, I took the 2021 value at the 59-cent levy, which you said, versus their new 2022 value, the same people, same house, the new value, and at a 52-cent levy. That was my criteria for my sample. So this worked out to be like 70 people that I was my sample. Of that, 67% increased if this criteria was met. 67% would see an average of $40.
Meaning their tax bill would be reduced by $40.
Meaning they would pay $40 more than they did last year.
Okay.
If whatever relief they got, they would end up paying, and whatever they paid, they would pay 40 more. If they paid $100 last year, it would be $140. 23% saw a decrease that averaged $25 per household. And then 10% of them did not change.
Mr. Vice Chair, question.
Oh, yeah, please.
What was the reason for making it a 52-cent levy instead of a 59 to show the actual change? It would be if nothing changed.
I took the new values that went up, and I figured out the levy to remain tax neutral with no tax increase.
Okay.
It averaged out to be an increase of $21 per household. Now, obviously, if it was a levy more than the 52, that ends up being that way, these numbers would be more, be worse, whatever you want to say it. The 40 would be higher. The decrease wouldn't be as much.
Let me see if I understand this correctly. So you took the levy down to 52 cents to keep the tax rate, or not the rate, but the,
To bring in the same amount of money as you did last year.
okay. Okay, I think I'm following you there. So at 52 cents, it would be the same. And then if it ends up going above that, it's considered a tax increase.
Do what?
If it goes above the 52 cents, it's considered a tax increase. Am I understanding that correctly?
Last year, 59 cent, and I'm rounding a little bit here, okay?
Right.
59 cents brought in $9.8 million. With new values, 52 cents will bring in $9.8 million.
So it's a revenue neutral number is always trying to show.
And in light of that, we don't have the final numbers still yet because
We pretty much have the final numbers. There's still Board of Equalization to go through, but we will have to use our numbers now.
Okay.
And Lisa has all that information, by the way. So, with this being said, which it may not come down to 52, this would be more. I thought that now, I guess I was wrong on my minute, Mr. Pant, because it took me I should have known it'd take longer than a minute to get it about maybe increasing some guidelines. And I just put, now Dave, can you go up?
Before you,
No,
Of what?
Yeah, go ahead.
before you question, if you took it, why was there an increase in real estate value, even taking it back to the same amount of revenue? What caused that increase in taxes, even though you made everything equal?
go back up, David. Like here,
Yeah, why,
why would they increase? The value of the home went up maybe 40% or whatever. Even if you brought the levy down, they're still gonna be paying more in taxes. If their home did not increase, but maybe 10%, wouldn't be. But if it increased, and you know the homes average 33, so average 33 means some below, some above. And if they got some of the ones that increased more, then even the lowered levy wouldn't counteract the amount that it was raised.
Based on your sample pool.
Based on my sample pool. Absolutely. Yeah, David. I put these proposed guidelines, and this is just simply my suggestion. This is obviously a board decision. But the household gross income, where it sits now at 27,500, I thought if we increased that to 30, and that would be a $2,500 increase, gets it up there a little bit. Maybe we get a few more people who qualify. Net worth currently at 90,000, maybe increasing it up to 100,000. And then the maximum tax relief, I put from 250 to 275 and an extra $25. And I showed you that 2/3 of them average 40, so I would stay on the conservative side here, but obviously you guys are the ones that make this. It's just that. We're leaving the trash being removed. And I just did sort of example, if it went to the 275, I'm getting that to be about additional cost between $5,000 and $6,000.
Reduce revenue.
Right. More benefit for our seniors.
Correct.
All in the wording.
Can I ask the history of, I realize the history of the disabled, the veterans tax relief.
Mhm.
Is the tax relief on seniors, is that exclusive to Grayson County? Is that something that?
No, the state code says that everyone can do this. And I'm not sure when Grayson County decided to do this, way before my time.
Okay, so this is on
This
the
is,
code.
yeah, this has been going on for years. That state says that you can offer this relief. It's up to the county though to say what the guidelines are. I mean, obviously, if you think Fairfax County, I mean, some of their net worth in Fairfax County is probably $500,000, you know, and their amount of, the guidelines are for the county.
Okay, so in light of that, there's been some new legislation on personal property tax that's enabling counties the ability to give some relief to all citizens. Are you familiar with that legislation?
I am.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was legislation that was signed where you could take of the different classes of personal property. You could pull out the vehicles, cars, trucks, and set a different rate on that if you wanted to. For ours is $225 right now for $100 value. You can pull out and set a different rate just for that category and leave your other classifications of personal property alone. Before you had, it was sort of all more lumped in together, like business, personal property, like that. Machinery and tools has their own category. Merchants capital has their own category. That was legislation that said you could set a different tax rate. And if you set a different tax rate, obviously you would have You could, if you adjusted the rate downward, that would show a tax relief or a benefit. Part of the things that's driving that is prices of used cars. And any of you been car shopping or know anything, we're in a strange environment where usually the value of your car always depreciated in value every year. Last year was the first year, other than if you go back in time to you remember the cash for clunkers program when we got rid of a bunch of old cars like that. That year there was some vehicles went up in value. But last year, because of COVID shut down auto plants, shut down parts plants. Some of those plants changed to making the PPE equipment, not making car parts. Part of the supply chain issue and the computer chip issue, which made the supply not as much, but the demand's more, and then that with a lot of our used car values have gone up. Especially later models, not as much like 20-year-old cars, but later models.
So that specific legislation that I referenced is cars only.
Yeah, cars and pickup trucks.
Well,
Yeah.
automobiles, I guess.
Yeah, automobile, your personal vehicles. So back to this, I guess this was sort of my proposed guidelines and looking at it maybe more conservative towards the county. I mean, if you guys would agree with this, I think that would be great if you wanted to up it in more. And you know, one thing, I sort of wear a lot of different hats from time to time, and different things, but I probably enjoy working with this as much as anything, because when you can talk to people, and when you communicate, and you can really see where you're doing some good. I know sometimes I say it's like I'm banging my head on the wall and stuff, but this is one, and it really helps out people. Very beneficial, and we all know the inflation and how the prices of everything that they're paying, and this is really neat. And I try to every year on our tax tickets that the treasurer's office sends out, on the back of them, there's a little sentence that talks about this program. Even with that, there's still a lot of people that they don't know about it. I try to sort of get that message out. I've been on a senior citizens meeting speaking tour this week. I went to Independence Senior Citizens on Tuesday and Trade Senior Citizens on Wednesday. I'm going to White Top next Thursday and just sort of present our programs. Here's what guidelines are, and you know, if you qualify, we'll see if we can work with you.
Larry, would it be possible to see what that impact was at the current levy at the next maybe budget meeting, or
Like if I took the same sample and changed my criteria to
today's
59 instead of 52, I could. Awful lot more work on and all that. But, you know, we don't talk about that now. No, we could.
Well, I hadn't heard you bang your head against the wall
No,
lately.
because I like it. I mean, if that's something you'd like for me to do, I would be fine.
I think that gives us more real time, because I mean, the impact's gonna be much greater, and as we look at the levy moving forward, that's something that I think would make a lot of impact. As we look at it, here's what it is currently, and here's what our.
And I know, as I said, the last time was 2019, and we were sort of getting our guidelines up with everybody else. And, you know, our guidelines may be more than everybody else if we decide to change something. At the same time, everybody else might have a reassessment that we had.
If I could ask one more question, when the state legislates that you will give the real estate exemption in the taxes, the state mandates that we do it for the veterans. I'm all for that, excuse me,
Right.
but I'm curious, when they mandate or pass legislation, that is there more state funding that comes in once they say you can't charge real estate taxes on whatever class they're choosing?
Yeah, I mean, those things, you know, when the people of Virginia voted to do that, and that's just less tax dollars at the county.
So that was an
Yes.
actual constitutional amendment.
It was, and was passed about 80, I think it was 82% that passed. And one thing that I actually forgot to put in here, on the disabled vets starting last year, they actually got tax relief on one vehicle. So, and that was new just starting last year. Or on one, if they had 3 cars, they could pick one and they wouldn't have to pay taxes on it.
And I'm all for this, but, you know, in 2017, it went the other way. Appraisals went the other way. And
Right.
we had to try to make up to pay the bills. So we need to look at that too. But this is a good program, I'm all for it, always have been. But if it went the other way, is the 52-cent levy, is that gonna be? I don't think it'll make that much difference if it went the other way on this program, would it?
Okay, and I'm not sure exactly what you're
Well,
saying,
I
if it
think
went the other way.
In 2017, the appraisals went down instead of went up. And I was here and we had to compensate for the
Right.
money we was losing, not with this program, but all overall. We
Right,
lost money and had to make it back up because we got to pay the bills.
right.
So.
I mean, if the 52 is gonna bring you the same amount of money you had last year. That's what that's gonna do. Now, I mean, the question when you're in your budget things, can you all live the same amount of money? And I mean, I know the county, everybody, our homes, we know how prices have done, and it's costing us more to do everything from buying groceries to buying gas or whatever. And those costs are obviously gonna be more for the county as well. Fuel, just fuel costs, you know, I'm sure will be.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
If I may.
Last round.
This
Move
is,
on.
$5,000 to $6,000 tax relief for the seniors. And it affects a small number of the population. And I've heard members of this board say 85,000 was a drop in the bucket. And we're talking about 5,000 to 6,000 for our seniors. That might be more considered a drop in the bucket. And I think we should move forward and go ahead and prove this as it's presented. And I can make that motion if we need to.
Can I say something else? And I'm not trying to read your mind, okay? But when you said if I was to do a sample of what it would be for 59, okay, that's gonna show you that it's gonna, I mean, I know it's gonna be more than this and stuff. Was you thinking that my recommendations may be too low?
Yes.
So now going back to you, if I do that, it may you may decide to do something more than the $25 increase.
So the $25 increase you're talking.
Instead of from
If we-
250 to 275.
Right, so even if it was
I
at
mean, maybe
59
300.
cents, even if it was at 59 cents, it's not gonna be a significant impact to that 5,000 to 6,000 that you mentioned in the bottom line there.
I mean, if you increase from 250 to 275, I was getting about a 5,000 to 6,000. If you went to 300, I have to think about that a little bit, but I'm almost thinking it's probably double the amount you're talking, 10 to 12.
Okay.
But, I mean, and I would just say if we think it might be more than my conservative estimate, I'm certainly willing to hold off.
If I may, what I think will be helpful for the board in the budget meeting is discuss criteria on why, why 30,000 instead of 2950 or 32,000 think we as a board in the budget workshop discussed criteria for those about why do we want to set it at that certain rate. And then what that impact is going to be, so we understand. That's my thought on how to proceed. I think if the commissioner can give us the information that Supervisor Ivy asked for give it to the administration by Tuesday, our next meeting, I think it's Tuesday night. Then we can have the discussion and decide, if we want to set the rates.
So I'm clear that you're wanting it at 59 cents.
Well, I just want a real-time picture, and the real-time picture would.
I can give you a sample of what it is at 59 and see what it.
And for clarification, the reason I'm asking, I think this is a part of our population that's going to be impacted more profoundly than everybody's going to be affected with what's going on right now. Once we see that at 59 cents on the levy where it is right now, I think we'd likely be a little more compassionate than what the request is. That's the only reason I want to see real time.
And I just want to question. Sure. You didn't scold with this.
Can we do this, can we do this every year? This ain't no every 5-year deal, is it?
Like adjusted?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If this don't work, next year we can up it or down it or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You all are free to set your guidelines every year. A lot of times they sort of stay at one until so many years pass, and then we sort of, well, everybody else has sort of gone up a little bit in time.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner,
That's clear.
Shipley. If you could add that for Monday or Tuesday for discussion. Okay, next up is, me, but actually it's, come on up. Mr. Allen Powers, District 3.
I'm gonna make Crystal come with me too, she'll do the transit part.
Yeah, that's good. So a little background, I'm for the board, I'm the the chair of the Senior Advocacy Committee, and in the comprehensive plan, there's an annex in there that talks about, things that we want to do as the county should address as it relates to seniors. We just came out of a topic that relates a lot to seniors. So last fall, we asked District 3 to look at the transportation service that they currently provide in the Grayson County, do an assessment. Because the routes haven't, I think it's 1992 is the last time the routes have been updated. So we wanted to know kind of what people are not, why they're riding it, where they're riding it to, the frequency, that sort of thing. So they did a little survey, and they're going to take us through kind of the rationale, and then after that, after the Q&A, maybe a recommendation on how we move forward. But this is really just a snapshot with the current program.
With the current program, with the current ridership, right?
Correct.
And that's what we were looking at overall, because like what we would normally do, and if the board wanted to expand it and to actually increase service, then that's when we would come to you guys and hold a public hearing and all that. But first we needed a snapshot of what the ridership is now, what a new route would be, and would there be enough of an interest in that to do a new route, which I think it was the purpose of the board meeting.
It's really about it. Should we expand services in Grayson County specific to transportation for seniors? It doesn't mean that other folks can't ride this service, they can.
Right.
But it's really, that's the focus of the advocacy committee.
And I'll let Crystal walk through what's in the packet, because this is the packet that we had done just based on what we currently serve.
So I'm Crystal Andrews, I'm the Director of Transportation at District 3. So the first page that you see here is the ridership information per route. So you see there's 6 routes here in Grayson County. So that first one, the green one, the GR of 6, that's your nutrition folks. It is blank all the way down to August because the sites were closed due to COVID. So it's not really an accurate number. We did this through September. That's when we started this project. So of course now those numbers have changed because we did reopen. But, you can see where we go, which route goes where, and how many folks ride it. Now, those are riders. They could have boarded that bus 2 times, 3 times, and that's reflected in this number. Could just been one person, but 2 or 3 boardings. That's how we track our ridership. So then the next page, is a map. And so what we did was, it coordinates with that ridership information. These are where the folks actually live that are riding the bus. The next one kind of gives you the addresses on that map. Well, he doesn't have that. Nope, okay. In your package, you will see that you have the information of where these folks actually live. And how many riders are in that address. And the next one is a copy of the survey that we actually gave the riders to complete. And the survey is just asking them, you know, what your purpose is to ride in transit, where you're going, where you would like to go. And then we just kind of summarize that for you. We first did it by route. And then we just kind of did it by category. So, kind of on its side, but. So on a regular basis, you can see that the Walmart in Galax is where most folks go. You'll just keep going down. There you go. Okay, so the Walmart in Galax is where most of the riders are going. With the second going to Rose's, and then the National Bank and the Food City in Galax.
Was this done while Food City was closed?
Correct. It is finished.
Part of it was, yes. Now, it's important for us to note that even though those riders are going to Galax for that shopping day, that if they need to stop anywhere in Independence, we do that. We'll do it before or after or both, whichever one you want to do. So it's important to know that because you don't capture that on here. You just see that route's going to Galax and they shop in Galax. But if that rider says, I need to stop by the bank here, or on the way back, let's stop at Food City so I can get my meal, we do that for them. So you can see that some of the improvements that were requested was more frequent service. So you do have some folks here that would like to see the bus more. And then we just kind of give you how old they are, the riders. And then just some things that the riders have said about the transit. And folks have their favorite, you can see their favorite riders. And then,
So you don't have to be a senior to ride the bus.
nope, anyone can ride the bus. And then the next page just tells you some of the things they didn't like. Which is just stinky people. Other than that, they like everything. And that's it. Yeah.
But I think if the goal is that we needed to expand routes here, what we would probably need to do, like this is a small scale survey, so probably what the county would want to do is look at some kind of survey of the ridership in the area and see if that's a needed service, because that's one of the things that we would do, like in order to get our funding as well, is to go and make sure that there is a need for the service. That's one of the elements that we have to have for a viable route. So if that's something that the county wants to pursue, all you have to do is just let us know and we can proceed from there.
Mr. Chair, does that require a vote or just a
Well,
nod?
any questions first? Yeah.
How many vehicles does the program have
In Grayson County.
in Grayson?
We don't currently house any of our vehicles in Grayson County. When we service Grayson County, we either bring our buses in from Galax or Smith County.
How many buses are in this,
In this.
The Links program, is every one of these a different route? Is that a different bus or is that the same bus doing multiple routes?
Well, the routes are on different days, so it could be the same bus coming in on the different days, or we could use a different bus. It depends really on the ridership, because some of our buses are a little bit bigger. So if there's more rider demand, we'll bring the bigger buses in.
Is it also play into if folks up in the Childale area are riding the bus, you're bringing your bus from Smith. If they're down in the Baywood area, you're probably bringing it from Galax. Is that part of the idea too?
And they'll have designated exits. We didn't bring the.
Like on the shopping trips, if they're going to Galax, the Galax bus will come in and get them. If they're coming to Marion, the Marion bus will come and get them. If they're going to Washington County, the Marion bus will come and get them and take them to Washington County.
Do you have a widthful bus that could pick up the Oak Creek people?
We have a Whipple bus, but I think Elk Creek, it would be a Smith bus, and we would send a Smith bus.
In Oak Creek?
The other thing is to keep in mind, there's, what's probably underassessed is that there are routes that come out of Smith that aren't captured necessarily. They enter through Grayson County on the way to somewhere back in Smith or Washington that some of our folks ride on. We just don't get that credit because, it's not a Grayson County designated route. What I think is important, number one, is that there seems to be, at least with this small survey, a need for this survey, for this service. I think there's some opportunities to maybe modify, expand, change the routes to be more conducive. If you dig into it, for example, the Independence Farmers Market, when it's open, they're not coming to Independence, and there's programs that District 3 offers for seniors to spend at the farmers market. So we're missing that opportunity for some of our producers. So I think there's some opportunity here, and I think. Go
And
ahead.
we can change any of the existing routes.
Yeah.
If everybody thinks that there's a need for that, like we can look at that. I mean, it's all up to where the riders are and where we need to do it.
But so we are clear. If we decide that, we want to expand we want to do a bigger survey, broader, is that a service District 3 offers?
We don't. It would probably come through the county, and then on our end, after it's decided if it's a viable, if it's a need, then we would hold a public hearing and go from there with the funding and things like that.
But I guess what I'm saying, if we say we want to do a survey,
Uh-huh.
and then county administration is going to go, District 3, we want to do a bigger survey. Are you the ones that we would work with to conduct the survey once we get the funding worked out?
We could probably assist. I don't know if we've ever done that. We could probably assist. We've never done that ourselves.
That's not part of this. Okay, so we would need to figure out how to conduct the survey.
What we could do is we could do another survey of the drivers or the riders now that COVID's kind of slacking off a little bit and the ridership could be up. We could do another survey, could cities now open your farmers market, it's going on. We could do another survey and that could assist the county in knowing what questions to ask on your survey.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I noticed on the map that Fireview area is a pretty populated area of Grayson County, but there's no service. Is that no request for service there?
I don't know, I'd have to look into that. It's not on our list of places that we go. Yeah, so I would have to ask the history of why we don't go to Fairview or Fairlane, sorry.
But that's an example of areas that are maybe underserved. That's why we need to look at our.
I just found it odd. I thought, okay, maybe there's not a request.
And as far as I know, Grayson County hasn't requested a change in the routes or where we go. Ever. So,
It may be
things
fine.
have
It may
changed
be
since
the
then, so
citizens
maybe it is an area that needs to be looked at.
And I will throw out there, because we've done this before too, like if you look at a route and you think that there might be some kind of, interest in something that's not getting as much ridership, we could always try an experimental route first to try to look at that before you actually, commit something. So that way you can see if you get those numbers.
Yeah, I didn't see any dots in Elk Creek either.
Elk Creek, and I wanna go back and correct what I told you earlier, it would not be a Smith County bus, it would be a Galax bus. Because we go to Elk Creek on Wednesdays and take them into Galax,
Okay.
but only if someone calls. That's how our county routes run. They're not gonna go to that area if no one's called for them, because there's no stops there. So our county runs are like door to door. So if you call and you're from that area, then yes, we'll come pick you up on Wednesdays to take you to Galax.
Freezing, they're pretty much connect over there. There's a couple of roads, but you hit it, so.
Yeah.
I was going back to the, thank you.
Ms. Gayhart, I think this is something that, this survey could probably be done through our new Zen City relationship, couldn't it?
Yes.
So this is, we can talk further with you about, if you want to survey the population, we've got a new tool that is being brought into play as we speak. It can help us with that.
So would board entertain a motion to direct the staff to, work with District 3 to conduct a more robust survey or something to that effect? Is that, you all okay with that?
I'm in.
I'll make,
Thank you, sir.
We've already discussed it.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion?
Y'all will stop Grayson County and buy some food once in a while.
Yes, they do. They have their own cards, so they
If
can.
you accept
stop
our fuel
anywhere.
cards,
Yeah.
we can.
All right, we'll vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you all very much. Thanks for making the drive.
No problem.
All right, seeing no old business, we'll move on to new business. First thing is resolution for the rural bailiff.
Yes, Supervisor, with the Tobacco Commission, it's required that before you apply for a grant to the Tobacco Commission, the board has to approve whatever it is you're going to be applying for a grant for, because the Tobacco Commission doesn't want to go through a full analysis of requests, only to find out in the end that the board doesn't support it. So they require us to do a resolution spelling out in broad terms what it is we're going to be trying to pursue through them. And that's what this resolution is. So with your permission, I'll go through it. Okay. This is a resolution supporting the Regional Sheep Wool Baler Project and to authorize an application to the Tobacco Region Revitalization Commission for an agribusiness grant to purchase equipment. Whereas agriculture is recognized as Grayson County's #1 industry, and whereas with the sheep industry realizing over $190,000 in sales and 3,000 head of sheep and lambs, and whereas Grayson County is centrally located in one of Virginia's wool producing regions, making it an ideal location for producers to have their wool packaged for market, and whereas the purchase of a wool baler will enable producers to safely pack and pool their wool together to realize increased income by 400%, now therefore be it resolved by the Grayson County Board of Supervisors that the County of Grayson will make an application for an agribusiness grant to the Virginia Tobacco Commission for the purpose of seeking financial assistance necessary to purchase the wool baling equipment and authorize the county administrator to sign and submit the completed application. Adopted this 14th day of April 2022 in the County of Grayson, Virginia.
Okay, we have a resolution, we have a motion to adopt it.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
say,
Discussion,
Yes.
please.
What would be our percentage of this purchase?
Ms. Young, do you have details on that? This is our Agriculture Economic Development Director for the audience.
For this particular grant, the county's percentage would be 0.
Okay.
The match will come from a private source, which is New River Valley Sheep and Goat Club.
Can't beat that.
All right, so full disclosure, I'm on the board of the New River Valley Sheep and Goat Club, and this effort has been underway for a few years. They've been using, they got acquired an old baler that they've been using over in Elk Creek for the last couple of years to people from the region to bring the wool there to Bailey. The thing's pretty antiquated, broken, and so this effort, given that they use it here in Grayson County, kind of made sense to be the lead partner with the Sheep and Goat Club. All right, so that's kind of why it came to us. And so I just want to make sure everybody was kind of aware of my relationship with this event. I am a sheep guy as well, and so but we get nothing out of it other than I get an opportunity to bail my wool. That's kind of where we're at. Does it make sense?
Yeah, and while you're on that, I'll make disclosure, I belong to the New River Valley Sheep and Goat Club, and I ain't got no wool, but if I need to send my motion and let someone else, I can, but
So,
all I is paid dues.
so
This is a resolution, it's not even an approval of any funding.
no, this is
a
just,
resolution.
this is saying that we support the grant. That's what it says.
Now, Mr. Bell,
Yeah,
did you
we
make
got
a
a
motion?
first and a second. We have a discussion. We're ready to vote if there's no further discussion. All right. All in favor, say aye.
That's the roll call resolution, doesn't it?
Oh, probably good point. So we'll do a roll call for the resolution. Supervisor Henderson.
Yes.
Supervisor Arden.
Yes.
Supervisor Bell. And I as well.
Thank you. Thank you, it's good.
All right, proclamation.
Yes, Mr. Fant, Supervisor Fant, we have, this is National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, which is April 10th through the 16th, 2022. We have some folks here in the audience that work in that particular area. Can you stand up if you are part of that effort?
Nice. Nice.
We appreciate you.
All right.
All right.
Future firefighter.
There you go. So with your permission, I'll read the proclamation. Okay. Proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, April 10th through the 16th, 2022. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Twin County 911 Emergency Communications Center and Grayson County Sheriff's Office. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Grayson County Sheriff's Office and Twin County 911 have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year, now therefore be it resolved that the Grayson County Board of Supervisors of Virginia declares the week of April 10th through 16th, 2022 to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the county of Grayson, Virginia, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Adopted this 14th day of April 2022 in the county of Grayson, Virginia.
Okay. We have a resolution on the floor. Have a couple of errors got fixed, but we have a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt the resolution with the changes necessary.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? I don't think we need roll call on this. Yeah. Just go with it. We'll do a roll call just to be safe. Supervisor Anderson.
Aye.
Supervisor Adams. Supervisor Van, aye. Thank you all very much.
Yeah,
for what you do. We'll get this thing framed up nice, get it to y'all. Yeah, we do a picture. Y'all available for a pic? Yeah, cool. We'll get the little guy in there. Yeah, let's do a pic down front.
GG, we'll take a good picture.
Too much glare off the forehead? Is that what you're trying to do?
It's missing some wool.
Good?
That one's official.
Okay, next thing is conveyance of donated land. I think, what I failed to do prior to approving it is that particular item has to do with the parking lot for the library. And we've been working with, the state of Dan Walters. He's agreed to donate some land, but came up today, we might have a couple of things we still need to resolve. So with permission from the board, I'd like to table that to May. It's not a time sensitive issue. We just need to cross the i's and dot the i's, cross the t's. And then we'll bring it back up in May, if that's okay. Everybody all right with that? Good. Okay. All right, so then moving on, surplus sheriff's department.
Yes, sir. To the Grayson County Board of Supervisors, to Bill Shepley, County Administrator, Mitch Smith, Assistant County Administrator, and Lisa Gayhart, Director of Finance, from Richard A. Vaughn, Sheriff of Grayson County, March 29, 2022, request for surplus vests. Pursuant with Virginia Code 2.2-1124, the Sheriff's Office requests that our expired bulletproof vests be surplused and donated to the war efforts in Ukraine. We have 16 vests that qualify for the purpose. With the board's approval, the donation will take place accordingly. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Okay, and just, in transparency, this thing was a critical, time-sensitive deal, and so called the chair. The chair agreed to go ahead and say, yeah, let the sheriff go ahead and get them into the system so they can get on over there. So you may have seen it in the paper. I mean, the picture's already out there. But this is just to follow up on that donation that they made. So with that, do I have a motion to approve?
You and your boss, and you and the chair pretty much okay.
Yeah, we said okay, given the time sensitive nature of the matter, we said okay.
Yeah, we got in that service involved.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So,
Second.
okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, so 4 ayes and 1, or 3 ayes and 1 abstention. Okay, board appointments.
Yes, sir. We have really pleased to share with you the list of individuals that are interested in participating on the EDA. There's one individual on that list that we have not heard back from, so our multiple attempts to get with that person, they've not gotten back to us, so we're thinking that Elisa Blevins may not want to continue to serve. But there's one other correction. We discovered that Amanda Shore is actually not in the Old Town District, she's in the Providence District.
Okay.
But everyone on here has expressed an interest in participating. I think they'd all be great participants, and hope that you all will consider it.
And, so with those noted changes, is the board okay with just approving that block for the EDA? Do I have a motion? Oh, sorry.
I'll go ahead.
Yes, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve everyone but it's listed highest Blevins.
Yeah.
Okay, leave these, okay, all except these.
There's a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, so did Ms. Blevins reach out and express that she did not want to serve, is that?
She just hadn't returned any of our calls or any of our attempts to contact. She attended one of the meetings that we had out of 3 so far, so.
Okay, do we have the attendance of all the people that participated?
Sure, we've got that.
Cause I heard that was an issue with some other folks on that board too. I guess where I'm going with is unless we've heard from her for sure, she's not interested. She represents a very remote area of the county, and I think if we're gonna approve the whole block, we just include her, and then if we're gonna have 10, is that?
That would be 10 with her.
10 with her, so I just because she hasn't returned the call, I don't think would warrant removing her, and I think that's a critical area that needs representation.
Supervisor Anderson, there is one other one that is in that area also. Just want to point that out, Gary Rasco is from the White Top area.
Okay.
And Darren Young.
Well, I defer to the Wilson, rep on this.
I don't think there's any reason to take Ms. Blevins off of it if there's not a replacement for it. There's room for 10 members of the board.
Hers done run out, correct? Term expired.
Hers expired, and I think based on just no confirmation, she wanted to continue to serve. That's why the recommendation.
She does want to continue to serve.
She does?
I'm asking.
How many attempts have you made to?
I don't remember, I've called, I've left messages, both work and cell phone. I do not have a home phone number for her. I have emailed both her, Grayson County email and her personal email and her bank email. And I'm not heard back from her.
I will volunteer if Mr. Ivy consents. I'll reach out to her tomorrow to see it. But as it stands, I think she should stay on there until we hear it from her, because there's been a lot of confusion. We got this presented to us at the last meeting, and it appeared that everybody's term had expired. So I'm not sure if it's just a lack of communication, but.
Well, for clarity though, everybody's term did expire because we only appointed them for 1 year. Now we're moving to a staggered, term, or supposed to be.
That's right.
And so that's why everybody's expired.
Explain the staggered term.
Well, some members of the EDA are appointed for 4-year, one is for 4-year term. 2 are for 3-year. 2 are for 2 years, is that right?
Do we know who's who on that, or is that new for the upcoming term?
So what was presented last time, it was new for the upcoming term, once we got through the first year, but it should be, those terms should be articulated on the appointment. So, given that do you have it on the, who we're appointing for what time?
I remember.
Well, but it needs to be there, and it's not there.
And I think the reason it's not, what I've been ready to say is that there was conversation that we were going to actually let the members, there might be some members that wanted to serve just 1 term. Some might be more readily available to serve full. So we were actually, the reason it's not there, we want to take that discussion to them at the next meeting. And then if we had to, bring that back to the board.
Okay, so then, having said that, then if it's the pleasure of the board, we appoint everybody that's on that list, and then this is just an idea. appoint everybody that's on that list, and then we come back with the list based on the meeting of who, and then reappoint them to those specified terms.
That would be great.
Is that okay?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Is that okay with y'all? That makes sense. And then that gives us time to resolve the,
Sure.
but it gets the EDA reconstituted.
Yeah.
So, do we have a motion that?
I think this is pretty same line, because I think I would make the motion to approve everyone but Mr. Jones.
Okay, so that motion's been moved. All right, so do we have a new motion?
I'll make a motion to approve everyone on the economic development authority.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any further discussion,
Can I point out one thing?
please?
That does give you a 10-member board, so that's an even number.
Understand.
That's what we want.
Well, we'll address it once we resolve,
If everybody
this
should
last,
say yes.
right, if everybody should. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Good. Thank y'all. All right, Mount Rogers PDC.
Yes, I think, you had expressed that.
Yeah, so based on the criteria, if it's okay with the board, since, they're looking for a BOS member, I was on that, on the full commission when I first came on the board. I'm okay with, I think it meets once a year, so it's not a big deal, but I'm okay with being the BOS person if it's okay with everybody else.
You did it last year.
It's been several years when I was on the full commission, then I moved over to the executive commission prior to Mr. Shepley coming on after, Mr. Sweet left. And then, I came off of it, so now I'm willing to be on the full commission if it's okay with everybody.
Question? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just, the role that Tom played and that I played, I just want to make sure that it's clear. I believe that they're looking for someone that is going to go to their monthly meetings.
I'm
That's what I
okay with that
did
too.
Okay, all right. Just
I'm
want to make
okay
sure.
either way. I'm okay to serve.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just
No,
want to
no,
make sure you
I'm
did.
okay either way.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, did you have a question?
I did, but it's left me. Must be everyone.
Well, I know where I sit, I know where you sit, so we'll get.
I make a motion to nominate Supervisor Fant for the Board of Supervisor member to serve on the Mount Rogers Planning District.
I'll second that.
Having a first and second. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
You do, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't know if it's the real, so there's just 3 members, so is Tom our, citizen member, is that?
He's the permanent at large, that's correct.
Okay, so, and what is his term?
I don't know what.
Looks like they're all 4-year terms. I don't know what, I guess he's in, he's finished year 2 of his, of a 4-year term.
Yeah, I don't think he's up for, but we can figure that out.
Okay, that was just my question there, so, and then the third, so he's 2, you're 1.
We need a planning commission, right?
Yeah.
Alright,
So
do
we
we,
need a
do
planning-
we need that motion now for the planning commission person? Well, let's finish this one, I guess, or is this
Yeah, the
included?
motion right now is for me to serve on the full commission. So,
This,
all in favor?
uh,
Okay. So now planning commission.
Yes, if it pleases the board, what I'd like to do is, we have a planning commission meeting next Thursday, right? And see if we have someone on that, in that planning commission that would be willing to serve.
could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Could we just take the chair of that particular board and make that part of their duties? Would that,
Good.
because they're running the meetings and obviously they're attending, or they wouldn't be the chair.
Do we know that Brian, I know Brian works at the prison, I don't know what his schedule's like, is he willing to do that?
We could ask you. Sure.
I mean, I don't know that it's a fair idea, but,
How many's on that board?
There's probably about, I'd say about 10, 9 or 10. Yeah, there's 9 or 10.
well, the full commission though is a lot bigger than that because of, you got more members. But anyway, but yeah. Are you okay with him talking to him at the planning commission?
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
I'd hate to speak for somebody to make them do it. I think we need
Right,
somebody volunteer.
right. Okay, so you'll take that?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's it on the, I think, new business, county administrator report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say that, when it comes to broadband, many people have lots of interest in what's going on in broadband. We're certainly very excited about the rollout of broadband and the process that we're going through, the partnership that we have. A couple of things have snagged the process. One of those being the coronavirus, the second one being the more significant one, and that is the supply chain situation on a worldwide basis. It looks like some of those obstacles have been overcome. Some of the needed supplies in order to move the process forward at a much quicker rate. We've had a notification from GigaBeam that those supplies are supposed to come in next week. And so we, as all of you, are hoping that the process is going to move much faster. It looks like the processes have been put in place in order to overcome those challenges and move things forward. We'll keep you updated on a month-to-month basis. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, next thing is registered speakers. I think I have two. Just a reminder, you got 3 minutes to talk whatever your issue is. First one on the list here is John Rogers, is that right? Come on up, and if you would, just for the record, state your name, your address, and let us know what you think.
My name is John Rogers. I just moved here, 53 RDR Lane in Rugby, just down the street from the fire department. I think you covered everything I really wanted to talk about with broadband. I'm one of your 100% disabled vets in the county. I can't make a 911 call at my house. I can't call anybody. I can't get on any kind of meetings to do any kind of therapy for PTSD or anything else like that. So that's really nice. It's nice news to hear that. I'm actually living in Florida at the same time now, moving up here. I'm trying not to come up here a lot because I can't even. Right. So this was my dream up here. So hopefully it gets going. I used to be an IP project director for France Telecom, so if they need help.
Okay.
And that's basically it. I appreciate it. This is awesome. This is a great place.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
What branch?
Air Force.
Oh, boy, yeah. An honorable alternative.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, thanks for your service.
Yes, sir.
All right, Betsy.
I'm on the broadband thing. That was my question too. I know. I've emailed Mr. Ivy and he looped Mr. Fanning into it.
Report, name, address.
Betsy Sharon, 3 Foxfire Lane.
Welcome.
Is that all I needed? I know I've got 3 minutes, so I know I
There
gotta
you go.
hurry.
We'll reset the clock.
Okay. And John did, he emailed back and answered a lot of my questions. When you're out in the community, it's the rumors that are really hurting you guys with this. I mean, we just going down to Grayson Express, you hear ADP's pulled out, and GigaBeams took all of our money and run. The county's ready to sue GigaBeam. And I just think, you know, the slow process of it is getting to people. Because I'm by no means a tech person, and I can't read a map. And I was out there with John looking at the map, and he explained that, like, when you look at the map and you see the yellow and the green on the internet, where I'm needing internet to go, it's not there. So I'm like, wait, my road's not in here. So John explained to the best of my understanding how that works.
Yeah.
And then there's the rumor, and this one may be true, that if you live in town and can get, what do they have, Xfinity here in town? Or if you can get CenturyLink, that when GigaBeam comes, you can't hook up to that. Which, I think would be crazy, because I also heard that the county would be getting money back for each house that does hook up. I mean, these are just rumors that I don't know if y'all can answer tonight, put a into them. But I'm hoping, like you said, I think maybe December, the hope, is kind of a goal. If I read your email right, of the county maybe being fully covered, so that's kind of my feel too. It's the broadband, and I'm glad to hear that it's moving forward from where we were in pre-COVID when the governor came and everybody was so excited that, it's gonna be a matter of 2 years, and now we're 3 years later, and it doesn't seem like much has happened with it. So that's it, thanks.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
I'd like the board to consider suspending the rules for public comment period, to allow me as the chair of the broadband committee to try to address some of those. In the public comment period, we have a little bit of Q&A, but it's not really designed. I'd like to try to address some of those questions if it's okay. All right, here we go. I'll try to start big and go small. 3 years ago, we hired Gigabeam in a competitive bid process to put in universal broadband. As soon as we made the decision to hire them, they were a small wireless internet service provider out of Bluefield, Virginia. About the day that we picked them to be the internet service provider, Appalachian Power came in and said, hey, guess what? We picked y'all to be part of this pilot program, and we're going to do fiber. So, of course, at the welcome hug ceremony for Gigabeam, said, hey, great to have you on board. What do you know about fiber? Not a lot. But part of the plan was APCO to put in 238 miles roughly of fiber to put in the middle mile. That started in December of 2020. To date, we being APCO, has put in 72% of that. Okay. We've completed, I think, 4 segments are complete. And the one that runs from White Top down to Baldy is at about 92%. Okay, so there's a little bit more to go on that particular segment. But there's a total of about 13 segments in the county to get this fiber belt put in. All right. Now, all along, the fiber belt was going to address about 60 to 65% of the people in the county eligible to hook onto fiber. And we got grant money to do that last mile connection from the fiber to the home. About 1,000 feet left to right of the fiber belt. Okay. Today, though, even though we have 3 segments that are technically hot, we've only connected about 20 customers, and they're primarily in the Elk Creek, Stones Chapel Road area. Why only 20? Well, it goes back primarily to the supply chain issues that have to do with the very technical piece of gear that sits in the person's house that translates the fiber signal into the electrons that they need to get inside the house. All right, it's called an ONT. All right. We have, according to Gigabeam, we have a good status on about 1,000 of those supposed to be in this week. All right. He's contracted with installers to do the fiber connection, and so he hopes to ramp up to about 100 connections per week. However, I can't tell you or anybody in the county when you're going to get connected. And that's frankly a problem that we are working on to solve. We should be able to articulate to anybody that's out there, based on where you live, when you're going to be connected. I can't do that. I don't have that information yet. But we do know that if you signed up for Gigabeam, he being Gigabeam, has received your information. We're also working on the customer service portion of that. Because the feedback mechanism on if you sign up for service, the confirmation that they acknowledge that you signed up, you're not getting that. You're not getting that love. I didn't get that love, all right? And I've been on this committee for 6 years. So I understand that pain. But that's kind of where we're at on the whole project. We've made a lot of progress. APCO is on track to complete the installation on time in December of 2022. So about 7 more months. All right. They're going to do their part. Then it's on Gigabeam in the county to get the rest of it done. Now, the other 35% that's not going to be on fiber will have an opportunity to have wireless signal. I call it fiber-enabled wireless because it goes back to the fiber belt pretty quickly. But wherever you live in the county, you should be able to get service. That's our goal. That's been the goal the whole time. Universal broadband coverage for Grayson County. Ultimately, we want everybody to have fiber. That's going to take a longer time to solve. But we got to get this part done first. So the thing that you all can do is continue to do what y'all just did, is come here and keep pressure on us to help push this project along. The other thing you can do is tell your neighbors, everybody to sign up. Now let's talk about some of the things, the rumors that are out there. All right. The one I heard last week was that Gigabeam was owned by Facebook and that they don't sign up with Gigabeam because you don't want Facebook to get your information. I fully get the concern that people have about personal information on the internet. All right. We all got to do a better job and be careful of what it is we put out there. Gigabeam has partnered with Facebook in the design of the fiber connections. Facebook, Gigabeam, again, as I said at the beginning, very small internet service provider. However, they needed expertise. And Facebook has a vested interest in solving rural America's broadband access. Absolutely do. It's called market share. They're in the business of making money. So there has been a partnership there. But it's to the benefit of us to be able to get this fiber put in. Because if we want to future-proof Grayson County, we got to get this stuff put in. You know, it's just not happening at anybody sitting up here or over there at the pace that we thought it was going to be. Because you're right. Next month, it's 3 years from when the governor stood next door and said, this is going to be a great project. It is a great project. We didn't anticipate the pandemic, the labor shortages, and the supply chain issues, among other things. Funding is not a problem. We've got the money to get the connections to the home. We just got to get the connector to connect the home. And that's our job. What was your other rumor?
I guess the big one is the people in town and CenturyLink. If you can get those, that you
All right,
can
so
get them.
it's a market-based system, right? If you live in town, you probably have better access to cell phone. You have a couple of options on the internet, right? If you sign up with one of those, there's probably, with maybe the exception of CenturyLink, there's probably a contractual agreement that you have. It may be 2 years in the running, right? If you make that contract, you're obligated to that contract. What we're trying to do is give you the option to sign up with Gigabeam. And if you sign up with Gigabeam, you're going to have a contract with them as well. But the county is partnered with Gigabeam. Is the county going to get some money back? Yes, there is a part of our agreement with Gigabeam that gives us money back for every service, and that money is then reprogrammed back into the county to build further infrastructure. That's how it's set up. So there is truth to that piece, that if you work with Gigabeam, it's going to benefit the county and everybody else writ large. But personally, if you need internet and you got an option, you got to do it. You know, I'm paying for 512K at my house, and maybe I get 150K a day. All right, I have to go to Elk Creek to really get some smoking service. All right, which gets me to like 1 meg. All right, but future, yeah. Elk Creek Fire Department is really where it's at right now. That's the challenge. So there are other services out there, but for the county and for Gigabeam, the goal is, why we went into this public-private partnership with them is because it gives Gigabeam the opportunity for a 5-year period to get as many people signed up as possible, because it benefits them. It solves the market problem that has not solved our problem prior, because it's all customer based, right? Yes.
Can I just clarify? the complaint the complaint is they want Gigabeam and want the county to get the
Right.
money, but their understanding is if they're able to get Xfinity or CenturyLink, Gigabeam wouldn't be an option.
There are some restrictions when it comes to the type of money we got to fund the last mile of the home. There are. So if for example, Comcast is in a particular area, there are restrictions on Gigabeam on that. But that can get worked out over time. All right. If we're not using the VODI money or the tobacco money, or it's really just the VODI money, if we use other money, we're not held to those same restrictions. All right, to make those final money. If Michael Clemens Gigabeam wants to make that connection on his own, no problem. We just can't spend the money on that last mile for him. But it's to his advantage to sign that person up if they're eligible. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Any other?
I mean, the others are just, like I said, the county was, y'all were ready to sue Gigabeam and pull out, the AEP has pulled out. I mean, it's just because of the slowness of it, the rumors are flying, you
Yeah.
know.
You personally had caused Gigabeam to slow down. You,
I mean, that's the rumor.
because you threatened to sue them. That's
You,
a-
John Fain, not you, Grayson County Board of Supervisors.
But you.
John Fain.
Okay. Well, I haven't done that. But I understand the frustration. There's no one asking anybody to slow down. APCO's full speed ahead. Gigabeam, I believe, in their heart of hearts, is trying to solve the problem. They have hired a new person for their outreach, so that's a plus. They have hired a company that APCO is familiar with that does that final last mile connection. Lumen, I think, is the company. They're a very reputable company that APCO's done work in other places with, so that's positive. So I think things are close, but we're all frustrated with the pace that the connections are happening. I'll be frank with you, I'm frustrated. And we talked about it Monday at the broadband meeting. We're frustrated with the pace. And so that's kind of where we're at. But John Fant is not suing Gigabeam. Public can make that in a minute.
So,
Just
John,
a minute.
Is that?
Oh, that's good. Thank you, sir.
so I've heard the same thing about if you live in town or you within 1,000 feet of Comcast or Xfinity, then you consider yourself served. Is that what?
No, so the 1,000 feet thing has to do when we were trying to figure out how do we get the most people signed up and then use some sort of criteria to apply for the money, right? APCO gave us the plan, said this is our belt. We said, okay, let's go with 1,000 feet left and right of that belt. How many homes does that capture? Beep, number came up, several thousand, all right? We figured in the cost of connection to run the fiber, the whole thing, that gave us the number to apply for the grant, all right? That's the 1,000 foot left or right thing. There is some old language, and I'm not saying it's not still enforced, but there's some old language about, I think they're called census zones, that under the old FCC rules, if Comcast or one of the other bigger companies served one person in that area was considered served. So you would go online, you'd see a map that showed, Virginia, and everybody's got connection, and we know that's not true. So finally, the word got through on that that's not right. But there are areas, because they had to make agreements in the legislation to get APCO permission to do telecommunication work as a power utility. Correct me if I'm wrong on that language. That they had to make some concessions to the big telecom commuters, and that was one of them. That if you're in an area that's currently served by Comcast or something like that, then you're not eligible for this money to be used to make your connection. That doesn't mean that Gigabeam can't make the connection. You tracking with me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so there are some areas, I think over where Mitch Smith lives and some other areas, probably independent. So when you look at our plan, we didn't plan to do a whole lot in Independence because they were technically served. And so we didn't have the money to do the last mile connection. That does not mean though, if you need service and you live in that area, you can't get Gigabeam service. It's just the funding for that last mile connection, which we're trying to solve for everybody through grant money, can't be used in those particular areas. All right.
Mr. Chair, you had mentioned Facebook's benefit in the rural areas. And I guess we see that from different perspectives, because as we know how powerful Facebook can be when they can shut down the president of the United States. So their benefit in the rural areas might not be as obvious or as well stated as what it actually is. Have we sold ourselves to the devil to get internet in our county? And what are they paying our county to install?
Facebook's not paying anything. I think it's a subsidiary of Facebook has partnered with Gigabeam to do the engineering work. You know, I'm not a fan of Facebook and how they run their business, but they're a telecommunication business and they're out there doing their thing. And the decisions they make about the former president, you know, that's up to them. But here in the county, they have partnered with Gigabeam on the technical side to solve a technical problem that Gigabeam has. That's all I know about the relationship. We do not have a relationship with Facebook, other than they came here and did a really nice video back in September about the project. And it was a nice video. But we still haven't solved,
That was my neighbor, that girl. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
And so it's a really nice video, but we still haven't solved the problem ultimately. But, you know, they're a business out there trying to get more customers to do what it is Facebook. It's an individual decision on if you use Facebook or not, and what you put on Facebook or not. And that's, I think, all I can say about it. All right, enough on that. Are you good?
I'm good. Thank
John,
you.
you good? All right. We'll put
Mention
this,
one thing.
please.
Thank you for coming up here and trying to find facts. I can, you know, Facebook's got all the answers. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what all the rumors is coming from.
Well, and as I told John in the hallway, you know, the only thing I really know about tech is it's in Blacksburg. Okay, that's about it. The other stuff I've learned on this job. So if I said something that turns out to not be true, it's on me. But that's how I know it, how it, you know, as of Monday. Okay.
We as a county use Facebook, so I guess that's where all the answers are coming from.
All right. All right. I think that's it. No more public comment. Did anybody want to speak that didn't sign up? Give you one shot. Okay. Having said that, there's no board supervisors time. No one spoke to me about that. We don't have a closed session, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Can we announce next meeting before we adjourn, Mr. Chair?
We have a budget meeting Tuesday, I think it's 19 April at 5:30 PM. Here in the boardroom. And then we have our normal meeting in May, second Thursday of the month at 1800. All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, thank you. Microphone.